there was a referendum of the taxing of churches' activities in Ghana, how will you vote? What about regulations of church? Are you satisfied with the various trends we are witnessing within the church? To discuss these and more, I have with me former General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana, Reverend Dr. Opuni-Frimpong, and you are watching The Hard Truth. We are proudly brought to you by Murphy Homes, Dawa Industrial City, Paul's Fitness Gym, and Alpha White Park Academy. My name is Nana Akusia Kunidu Asante Samuels. Former General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana, Reverend Dr. Opuni-Frimpong, is here. Welcome to The Hard Truth, sir.
Thank you, Nana.
How are you taking the break from the regular routine? Christian Council.
Christian Council is a very exciting place to work. But it comes with a very big challenge because of the kind of engagement we do. Apart from real church work, you work with civil society group, traditional leaders, other religious bodies, traditional leaders, Muslims. Then you have a lot to do with, we call it public witness, but that is what you do, the engagement with politics, governance,
right.
And it can come with stress. But now I'm teaching at Kwabena Opuni-Frimpong University of Science and Technology. It also has its own challenges, but now we are in a break.
Right. Let's start with this, with the raging controversy on taxing churches. There has been, varying opinions on this. In the words of, I think, Prophet Kwesi Amponsa, he said, he's the founder of the Hope Generation Ministries International, and he said, and I quote, "The church has now become a business, so we must pay taxes." Now, although you have raised some concerns on the taxing churches, wouldn't you agree this, conversation is necessary to, start and looking at the activities of the modern trends? How would you take this?
Yeah, let me say that I don't speak for all churches in Ghana because I don't understand what happened in all churches. But there are churches I've been very familiar with them, especially because of my recent job as a Christian Council General Secretary. I work closely with the Ghana Catholic Bishop Conference, then almost all the 31 Christian Council of Ghana churches, and very close with the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Church. Churches are Church of Pentecost, Assemblies of God. Now, these churches have, we call it theology, Christian understanding, that is very holistic. What it means is you don't only respond to the spiritual dimension of life, but every faculty of the human being, health, education, sanitation, and all that. And therefore, even before paying taxes and whatever issue, they already direct their resources into education, into health. So you go into some communities and they only say primary school you may find in that community. Maybe Catholic school, SDA, Presby, Methodist, Anglican, like that. Some places you go, they only have facility in that community, belong to these churches. In fact, as at now, the only referral hospital in the whole Upper East region is the Presbyterian Hospital at Boko. So already such churches, the monies they raise are not with the pastors, not even with the assembly, not the local congregation. You finish, some call it assessment and all that. They come and even take the money, and the money is going into education, into health. So asking these churches to pay tax, they are already into national development. So it's something they love to do. But the way the issue had been presented is very discriminatory. Already they are paying taxes. Some of them that I know, the church groups I've mentioned, even they pay taxes at source. It's not like they give your money to you and you decide whether you pay your income tax or not. They take it even at source. And those who are running businesses, I know I was in charge of Presby Church, Ashanti region called Ashanti Presbytery. We had guest houses and all, and we pay your even VAT. You see, so churches that are running transport businesses, as it were, are paying taxes. But if there's any other new thing that the government wants to do to raise resources for us to develop our nation, but they should stop this discriminatory tax threats.
Where is the discrimination coming from?
Now, you see, churches are registered under the corporate, law, like any other, all those who are into charity, And it is not only churches. we have Muslims, you have traditional priests, you have political party, people who just survive on charity, donations. You see, so instead of going straight, churches, you are making money, you are having money, we will want to hear a tax that is open, that anybody who fall under X, Y, Z, for instance, anybody who is selling
So
water,
the law is not clear on that.
yeah, well, yeah.
But
That's why we are calling for a clear definition that
Right.
if you sell water either in church, in the shrine, in the mosque, you pay tax. So you give a definition that is very inclusive. You see, so you know exactly what you are looking for. Now, if you go on there and the church, you make some people,
churches, I said some churches in Ghana, yeah.
But still, you don't stop there, Nana. You don't just stop some. Just give clear definition.
So what you mean to mention the names of the
No,
churches?
names,
It's unnecessary,
wait.
sir.
For instance, Nana, if you tell me that a church that, for instance, pastors, individuals who in my church, say one man can decide how much I'm taking and all that, you give certain characteristics. If you fall under this, you belong to category A. If you fall under this, so you give clear definition.
It's not a lie. I mean, you know that there are churches in Ghana who are going after material things, deceiving people, corruption and all of that.
Do you know?
How? I mean, don't we have eyes?
Wait.
Don't we see what is happening, sir?
I know. But when you wake up in the morning, you decide what you want your eyes to see. There are other things happening in this room. There are men who will come out from office, their wives have set up the table, they've laid the bed and all that, but they may not see all this. They see the small filth and they become angry. So you have your eyes, you decide.
So are you saying that the majority of, Christians in Ghana are okay and are not going to...
I will not use whether majority or minority.
So what's the point?
The point is, let's have our definition right.
We defined it. Some churches, let's leave it at that.
And even don't stop there. See, I am telling you that there are churches that are pro-poor. There are churches that direct their resources into education and health. And I've given you an example that I have a church that a whole Upper East region, whole region in this country, the only referral hospital belong to a church, Boko Presby Hospital. And these are capital intensive. So if you have churches like that who are collecting money from members and the monies are going straight into education and health and things like that.
Okay, so let's redefine. Let's talk about churches who have their finances determined by the pastor and the family. Let's just narrow it down. And then looking at that, I mentioned some few things: corruption, deceiving people, material things. Bring this. The offering today, our target is 100 million Ghana cedis. Who is giving us $1 million? If you don't give us this money, we are not going, and things like that. I mean, that's what I want us to talk about.
Fine. But then somebody must help all of us, including you.
I'm listening.
To define, the characteristics must be very clear. You see, when you go out searching for something, you must know exactly what you are looking for. Let me give you a typical example, get closer to what you are saying. This prophet's man of God went to church, this is a true story, and announced that God has given him lotto number. And he won 200 people who must queue and collect the lotto number. Each person must give him 50 Ghana cedis. So quickly 200 people are queued. He did not give the same number to the 200. Your number is different from mine. At the end of the week, 3, 4, this is a simple permutation, So 2, 3, 1, the others. And he was sure that 50 cedis times 200. So at the end of the service, he's going home with his 50 times 200. He did it the next time. And the next time. And this woman had paid 5 times, 50 cedis, 50 cedis, 50. While the pastor could guarantee his 50 cedis times 200, this woman had 5 times. And so the 6th time, he went to the Osofo, please, today I don't have money. Can you give me the number for free? And the Osofo told her that God has not given me this akwankyerɛ to give the money to you for free. So you must pay. Quickly, you realize that this man is thriving on the vulnerability of a poor, needy
so
woman.
how, right? So
that is what you are talking about.
Yes. So how then do we deal with that? How do we make our people understand that there are people like that going and they should be careful?
That is when we said, don't we see? I say, you decide what you want to see with your eyes. But yes, you see, but you don't also box all of them together. So you must spend your time, go to the drawing board and know exactly what you are looking for. And then if you send your staff, your team out there, then they know what they are looking for. Now, Nana, back to the question you just asked. You see, there's a history to what we are having today. The abuses, the excesses. Nobody is denying that we're having abuses. But there's nothing new about it. 1989, the then PNDC government enacted a law, PNDC Law 221. And they could call for, at the end of the year, your accounts and challenge you on that. Now, the then Catholic Bishop Conference and Christian Council leaders resisted PNDC Law 221. They resisted because, one, they didn't trust the government. Then, revolution, they could tell you when we should go to bed and when we should wake up and all that. But if you read the documents, it's very clear at a point they said that even though we don't want PNDC 221, we must still find a way of regulating the abuses in the system. Now, what it seems to me we have not been able to do from 1989 to date is, okay, how do we regulate, religious activities in this country? And I will use your platform to call for an independent body to regulate Christian activities in this country. Not government, not state control, but an independent body made up of Christians who understand the faith and who are coming from the various backgrounds. Catholic Bishop Conference, Christian Council, Pentecostal, Charismatic Prophets coming together to regulate. The only thing is they must have a backbone. So we resisted PNDC Law 221. It was repealed. In place of that, up to date, 1989 to 2018, we have still not responded to how do we regulate Christian activities so that we can handle the abuses in the system. And I think that is a question you have raised this on your show.
We'll be right back.
When you dream,
are you searching for something new in education for your child? Look no further. Alpha White Park Academy is here. Imagine an institution with a mission to facilitate the holistic development of every child enrolled. Imagine a school that provides excellent teaching, grounded in godly character, without any form of discrimination. Imagine an academy with a well-equipped computer lab and a library stocked with relevant books. Your imaginations are within reach with Alpha White Park Academy. At Alpha White Park Academy, a multi-skilled and Montessori approach is incorporated into our scheme for your child and infant school. We combine Ghana Education Service and other globally relevant curricula for your child in primary and junior high levels to have the best of educational experience. Our staff are highly qualified and well motivated to care for your child's every need. Security is provided to ensure safety of your child. Locate Alpha White Park Academy at number AE 401/10 Aquile Kaswa, behind the Living God and close to the Credit Union Training Center. Digital address code is CX0443030. Call us on 0502-261-944 or 0544-188-045. Rush now to Alpha White Park Academy and enroll your child. Alpha White Park Academy. Education makes.
when you dream, dream big.
Welcome back to The Hard Truth. We are proudly brought to you by Murphy Homes, Dawa Industrial City, Pulse Fitness Gym, and Alpha White Park Academy. Former General Secretary of the Ghana Christian Council, Reverend Dr. Opuni-Frimpong is still here. Sir, let's examine some comments you made in an interview on 21 Minutes program. You said, and I quote, you said that we pray and hope a day will come that at least our parliament will, enact some laws that will give a backbone to a body that will, will be able to regulate and bring some sanity to the church. I'm curious again, during your tenure as the GS of the Christian Council, did Parliament show any seriousness in doing this?
Parliament was moving in that direction of passing or even discussing a bill that will get us to regulation of religious bodies. No. But for this current administration also, to set up a whole ministry of chieftaincy and religious affair also opens a door. And that one, Parliament is aware.
Why should we pray and wait for Parliament to do it at its convenience? Being the umbrella body of the Christian organization in Ghana, shouldn't the Christian Council, be proactive enough to, to take up some of these challenges and seeing it through?
Yeah. And the point is, Christian Council of Ghana, if it's set up 1929, but it doesn't have any, if you like, legal backbone. We have 31 member churches. So when we meet, in terms of, say, our monitoring ourselves, say, iron sharpen iron, it's only the 31 members. We have memorandum of understanding.
Couldn't you have, petitioned the president and asked him to put it
it's
before
not as simple
Parliament?
as, we must be very careful.
It's not that simple, but even with the information bill, for something important as this, even with the information bill, there were talks, there were stakeholder meetings, and all of that, and now it's in Parliament. So why couldn't you again do something like that?
I told you that we've been there before, the PNDC Law 221. Now we have a constitution, I think the Article 21, that is also talking about the freedom for the religious bodies and all that. But we also now, from hindsight, where we've been coming from in the struggle, we feel that yes, we have religious freedoms, but if you give anybody religious, any freedom, not even religious, freedom of speech, movement, and you don't help them, you need freedom from abuse. So you give me freedom and you don't work out systems that will provide freedom from abuse. Then you make people irresponsible.
But sir, you go on radios, you condemn some of these things. It is not enough. So from where you sit or where you sat some months ago or some years ago as a GS of the Christian Council, couldn't you have, taken it upon yourself as a leader and, to lead the pack in taking that petition to the president? Was it so hard?
You see, we must go beyond condemnation. We over the years.
I'm not condemning you, sir.
No, even that's what we have done. An issue comes up and we all condemn, this cannot be Christian, this is not ethical and all that. There are churches in Ghana today that will not let members go to hospital. Pregnant women.
Yeah.
If I have had instance, I was in one of your sister stage media house. A lady called that was pregnant. She went to hospital. She came back, and the pastor pulled her
and beat her.
Said this, and she was happy. Peace FM, and you have churches that will not allow people to go to school today. Ghana, we have been condemning. We've been building up. We've been doing public education. Now we feel we've reached a point, especially the current administration's effort to have a whole ministry. And you may know that we have not been having a whole ministry for religious affairs. So this ministry provides us opportunity to maybe do something that over the years we have not been able to do. Because if that ministry is helping religious bodies and activity.
Do you think that your role then as a GS, did you think you failed Ghana? You failed,
exactly.
some part of Christians.
Christian Council was not set up by government. It's government of Ghana. It's some churches that have decided that let's come together and share fellowship.
I'm not talking about government. Yes.
Yeah. So for
you had a churches. Exactly.
I'm talking about churches like Presby Church, Methodist Church, Anglican, Baptist, Salvation Army, AME Zion, YP Church. The members that are in our group, I can stick my neck out that none of them, their pastors, can go to church and give lotto numbers. They dare not. They won't try. Some of the things you are talking about.
But again, I have a problem with that. You are talking like, yes, of course, you were a GS of that group.
Yes.
But you are a man of God first.
Yes.
Yes. So if a man of God sees something that isn't right, and in your position as a GS of a very huge body, of course, when something happens and then the General Council is called upon, the government listens, yes? No, yes or no? No, I'm asking you, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes or no?
You've been around for some time.
Right.
And you might
so
have
if something was like this was happening, again, why couldn't you just petition the president and then you're hoping and praying that, something would happen?
We've been releasing statements, communicating. In fact, we've
Was
been
that
working
enough?
But you start
enough?
from somewhere. You see, there are
And you
dynamics
stop.
in society. No, we haven't stopped.
What happened?
I'm no more in office as the CEO of Christian Council, but why am I here? I'm not the General Secretary. Some Reverend Dr. Serafari will say, is the new General Secretary. But why am I here? Why am I still raising those issues? So there's continuity in the conversation. We haven't stopped, but we've been building up. It's not been very easy. Again, when you are dealing with politicians, you must be very careful that you don't throw yourself into the hands of our politicians. They are not the best people to manage cultural, religious things because they always need vote. So we must be very careful. So we must build the whole system and do it very well and carry people along. And we have been in our press statement, communicate, some we have sent to government. These issues have been raised again and again. If now we have been able to build, our democracy is maturing from 1991. We are still, look at even our political system, campaign, electoral commission, so we are building up. So maybe now we are getting there, a point where Ghana Pentecostal...
What is the difference between now and then?
Now and then, for instance, now I pray and hope that, for instance, the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs will work out a bill that will go to Parliament. In
your view, what kind of a body should we set to regulate activities of the churches, and how should such a body go about its activities?
You see, we don't need a regulatory body that is political, that has been regulated by any party, by any government. The politicians are not the best people to manage cultural things, religious things. But you see, if you go to Ivory Coast, our next door neighbors, you just can't set up a church. You must belong to one of their communicable bodies, church bodies, like here, Christian Council, Ghana Pentecostal, Charismatic, the Prophetic, the Charismatic. You must belong to one of the group before you can set up a church in Ivory Coast. So you are regulated. You see, in this country, those of us in this studio this afternoon can start a church. On one breath, it's worked well for us. It has facilitated church growth. But the disadvantage is the excesses that system we have here is also given to us. And that is why we must go back to the drawing board. And this, I call for the church leaders themselves, because they call it, I'm sorry to say, but the charlatans and what they are giving to us, it is not helping our Christian witness. There are people who are becoming disappointed in the church because some of the things we are witnessing are not encouraging people to go to church and do the things Bible want them to do. So we church leaders must be interested in this subject. But there's a point where we may need our governance system. So you ask me, what kind of body will do that? Not members from government, not politicians, but we, Christian leaders. But they must have, this is what we don't have at Christian Council. Sometimes there are people who think that bodies like Christian Council, Ghana Pentecostal, Charismatic Council will have power to regulate others. Unless somebody decides, I'll join your group, you can't, But on ethical issues, if there's a pastor who 2 years is sleeping around with associate pastor's spouse, wife, sleeping around, there must be a body, if where you belong to, that this is unethical. Friend, you can't do that. You see, now this is missing. So you can get pastors who in the name of God and in the name of anointing, don't touch my anointed. When they are misbehaving, they go under. They drop their wives, no church member can talk about it. Because, and please, men of God, none of us is over and above the grace and mercy of God. So we must be humble enough. But now that's a system. But you can't raise such ethical issues, Nana, if that person is not within your group.
Also, should a new law on specific, to churches based on organizations require potential pastors to get a theology degree before they plant a church?
I studied in the U.S.
Right.
And in the U.S., for instance, you can't become a pastor if you don't have a very strong theological background. What it means is people who want to teach themselves must be taught. But whether it should be what you just mentioned, a degree in theology, I will be very slow in making that conclusion because, again, history, missionary history in this country suggests strongly that there are churches in this country, those who initiated the churches themselves were not degree holders in theology, in church things. But if you study the trajectory of those churches and the leaders and their human resource capacity building, they have allowed themselves to be taught. So yes, at the point of entry, maybe they didn't have degrees and all that. But as they move along,
they upgrade themselves.
Yes, and even now they are pastors. There are churches with internal systems for even continuous education. Churches are helping pastors, providing scholarships and all that. So we must be very careful that if you don't have X degree, you can't do this. But those who want to teach themselves must be taught. So even if at the point of entry, you didn't have whatever degree, if you want to, because you see, Nana, religion has a very powerful social force. Religious leaders command influence, and they shape public opinion. So there are church members. What is acceptable and what is not acceptable is what they hear from church. And now you have people preaching in our market, our street, in our buses, anywhere, everywhere. And it's not just a presence. They are shaping people's opinion. And this country must be interested, and our leaders here, church leaders and our political leaders must be interested. What kind of information and knowledge and influence that people are fusing. Because if you don't do it well, while others are doing good public education, trying to shape positive opinion and making Ghanaians patriotic and all that, you get people who are also telling, if I listen to one who said that Jesus has solved all our problems for us. Kwabena Nkrumah and the others have solved all Ghana's problems. So this time we must just enjoy. We only need to call the police to come and protect our money and all that. But nobody should worry ourselves about it. If you talk to people like that, make them lazy. They come from church and they don't see why they should worry themselves because Ghana's problems have been solved. But you are talking about systems. We are coming from somewhere. The challenges of 1957 are not the challenges of today. But if you don't get pastors who understand, even the whole human system, if I get a pastor who can whip a pregnant woman, I say, do you know that what affects the mother can affect the baby in the womb? You see, now you have pastors who are stomping to the berries of pregnant women and all that, and they think they are spiritual. In the name of spirituality, we shouldn't be irresponsible.
In recent times, is the significance of the church actually felt with regards to the spiritual and welfare development of its members?
Again, and I said earlier on that I will not want to talk as if I know what happens in every church.
Let's narrow it to even the Christian Council where you reside. Yes, that would be great.
And when you talk like that, you are talking about what impact are we having on children? What impact are we having on the young people? What impact are we having on, the elderly people? What impact are we having on society?
Welfare of members. So the pastor, you're a pastor.
Yes.
When your car is faulty, there's a fundraising. Reverend Opuni's car is faulty. We need to raise funds to get him a new car. When I get sick and I need some money to go to the hospital and I go to the church, they pray for me. This is what I am referring to.
I don't know where you go to church. But where I go to church, anytime somebody bring a new baby for christening, the whole church will raise money for that baby. And sometimes even we instruct the parents, don't spend that money for the child.
We do it in our church.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you are in a good church. Funerals and all that. And churches with scholarship. And there are churches that are even buying motorbikes and other in the rural communities.
So we did a survey. We use your church specifically. Out of the numbers we did, I'll give you the records after. Out of the numbers we had, most people complained. They said they have problems, they come, and they are turned away. Why?
Oh yes, but you see, this is where the church's role in society is supplementary. It's complementary.
When we buy your car, we don't pay supplementary amount.
Nana.
It's a full amount paid.
Wait.
If I'm sick, I need 5,000 Ghana cedis to go to the hospital.
In
I
fact,
don't
I have
expect
seen
Solé.
churches that have paid more. I have seen churches that are paying
Why
fees.
can't it be like a habit, a continuous something?
Yes, and that's what I'm telling you, that the church's role is complementary. And I wouldn't want
what?
churches, you supplement. It's not like you have it all. Because whatever the church has and we're able to do, depend on how much we're able to raise.
Will you understand if the church can't raise 100,000 Ghana cedis to get your car, it can raise about 30,000 Ghana cedis?
You don't know the value of my car.
Do you work?
Please.
Do you work to raise that 70,000?
There are pastors who don't have cars in this country.
Why should that be? Let's come to that again. Let's talk about the welfare of pastors, even within your council.
Okay.
You talked about some poor pastors in the rural area. Why? If there is some huge money sitting at your head offices, why don't you make sure, this is my cry, why don't you make sure all mission houses or all parishes or whatever you call it for your pastors are there? I mean, all the essentials, the basics are provided.
You see, the joy of what you are just describing to me is that despite all the limitation, you get pastors who are willing to go into challenging.
It doesn't matter. I need to go. Of course, I'm a man of God.
Yeah.
But what of making me comfortable?
I know.
Making me comfortable.
I know that the churches are limited in their resource mobilization. Beyond the offerings, and I'm telling you that some of your
Why are the churches? No, sir, I don't buy that. Why are the churches in the city, when you go, you see very fine mission houses? Why can't it be repeated in the rural areas, for goodness sake, sir?
With you, issues about equity. And I think it's something we must address.
So yes, as a Christian council, you have left. You have left.
I'm
there.
Still a member.
You are still a member. So what are you going to do about that?
I'm happy with the conversation we are having. You see, in this country, there are people who spend much more money on their dogs than we are spending on human beings. There are political parties that are spending money on posters and billboards that can afford the hospital beds we are talking about. There are pastors. I've heard a pastor who went to church and had the audacity to tell church members, the amount of money I spent on my dog, the food my dog eats, some of you cannot eat. And they gave him a standing ovation. I should wish they have all left the church immediately. You know, we must have equity in the distribution of resources, our national resources. You know, you go to our schools. Some schools almost have everything. You go to some schools, no science labs.
No, don't generalize it. Narrow it to Christian council.
I'm coming.
When you fix the issues in your house, then you can actually talk about
praise God.
So let's fix that. So how do we?
The passage you just mentioned.
Great. So how do we now fix it? Even from the groups you have, Pentecostals, from the Presbyterian, all of them. Yes. How do we fix that?
See, the point I'm making is, I like your program, Hard Truth.
Right.
You know, the point I'm making is, we must admit that we have a challenge when it comes to equity, sharing of resources. And it is a problem in the church, a problem in the society. So let's have a more integrated approach to it. You see, because it's true. If you look at the billboards we are raising in the cities, posters, one prayer meeting, and the posters we are prepared to pay for some of this thing. And you go into a rural community. And in fact, I may even use your platform. This is something I also know for a fact, that some of our rural churches are dying. And among other things, poverty is an issue. But if you look at how the billboards, you go to some of the churches, I'm only admitting the fact you are raising. Some are changing the carpet, the pavement blocks, some are having air conditioning, some are
You mean
flowers.
within the Christian council?
We talk about this, and I'm saying that I share this observation with you. That we
have narrowed it down to your council. So are you talking about people laying blocks and buying new carpets within the Christian council?
I will say this anywhere, but I don't want us also to end there, because equity in distribution of resources is a problem in the church, and it's also a problem in the society.
How now, number one, how then, do we start the conversation, this conversation?
Great.
How do we implement it?
That is what you have done today in the hard truth, that this country must take issue of equity of resources as a big issue. And in fact, the gap between the haves and the have-nots are widening every day. And we must be very careful. You see, the gap is in church, I will admit. The city, urban churches, some of the things they are spending money on, and you go into the rural areas, some of them just need a pavilion, basic things to worship.
Osofo, you are with the Presbyterian Church here?
Yes.
Okay, so in your rural areas again, would you promise me that in a year, if I take my cameras and I follow you to about, maybe we'll visit all the 10 regions in Ghana, the pastors and their mission houses, the welfare of the pastors will be better off? Would you give me that assurance?
The more I tell you that the issue you have raised today is very relevant and it's a challenge you must respond to, should suggest to you that if you don't change something, that the house don't get ready to share with those who do not have.
You have made your
we
point.
We will get to next year.
But I don't want this to be all talk and no action. So what are you going to do in your capacity and in your position?
So what is emerging from this conversation is beyond realization, beyond admission, that equity, a fair share of resources is a problem.
We have identified that issue.
Yeah.
Yes.
We
so how now?
Up.
Right. So how now do we share? How do we share? How do we make sure that me in Ofunasi or wherever,
great,
I get the same,
maybe
or close.
You know that the media houses in Ghana, you have done but some, in the advocacy program. Some are doing advocacy for women issue, children issue, hospital issues, and maybe who knows, one of the things emerging, that can we have a serious a campaign, advocacy program, which can be even packaged into media and showing what people are really, really going through. The issue you are raising is a problem in the church, is a problem in our families, is a problem in society. And I will want to go there. And then maybe as we search for answers, say how can we even extend our advocacy effort to that through media. The problem is a very big problem and it's very deep. So let's admit it. And then maybe from this conversation, say that what can we do? Churches in Ghana must respond to this no bed. Because those who are not having beds in hospital, some of them are in our churches. And just imagine that your mother, your wife, your husband go to hospital only to be told there's no hospital. And hospital number 1, hospital number 2. And your billboards alone can provide maybe 10 hospitals. And pastors must...
in tackling the beds and then in tackling the education, take care of your pastors. Get them good mission houses. Get them good pipe and water to drink. And I'm sure the work of God will go on. We'll be right back.
When you dream,
Are you searching for something new in education for your child? Look no further. Alpha White Park Academy is here. Imagine an institution with a mission to facilitate the holistic development of every child enrolled. Imagine a school that provides excellent teaching, grounded in godly character, without any form of discrimination. Imagine an academy with a well-equipped computer lab and a library stocked with relevant books. Your imaginations are within reach with Alpha White Park Academy. At Alpha White Park Academy, a multi-skilled and Montessori approach is incorporated into our scheme for your child and infant school. We combine Ghana Education Service and other globally relevant curricula for your child in primary and junior high levels to have the best of educational experience. Our staff are highly qualified and well motivated to care for your child's every need. Security is provided to ensure safety of your child. Locate Alpha White Park Academy at number AE 401/10 Aquile Kaswa, behind the Living God and close to the Credit Union Training Center. Digital address code is CX0443030. Call us on 0502 261 944 or 0544 188 045. Rush now to Alpha White Park Academy and enroll your child. Alpha White Park Academy. Education makes.
when you dream, dream big.
Welcome back to The Hard Truth that we are proudly brought to you by Murphy Homes, Tower Industrial City, Paul's Fitness Gym, and Alpha White Park Academy. Former General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana, Reverend Dr. Opuni-Frimpong, is my guest. So, globally, churches are, increasingly moving towards digital payments for the offertory, tithes, and, other donations. Knowing the tremendous benefits we derive from digital, payment, why are churches in Ghana, or some churches, or most churches in Ghana, delaying in making digital payment a mainstream dynamic for mobilization of money?
Yeah, let me say that contemporary technology, media have provided resources for Christian ministry, especially media, in all forms, oral, print, audio, visual, ICT, modern day social media platforms and all that. And I think one is what you have raised, not only using modern day technology, media for fundraising, but even to reach out to people, making sure the church is accessible, that people can have access to their pastors and not an access to resources. You feel sad, you feel stressed, and you need somebody to talk to. And contemporary technology and media patterns provide such that you can get to your pastor easily, you can pray with somebody. Those churches with websites, somebody is there that you can send prayer requests. And it seems to me that's the issue you are raising, that churches must explore more. How do we use modern day technologies and media resources for effective Christian?
Specifically on I talked about donation sites, monetary side.
Yeah. But you see, the church has been called to discipleship. Now, you need money, but you don't start from there. And that is what we need to get right. First and foremost, the church must be interested in the people. We must be interested in our young people. The church must be a human.
Are you against it? Are you against the introduction of?
No. But you don't start there. You must start from the welfare
that
of
has
the
been
people.
Started.
You must.
That conversation is there.
You see, people give money,
yes,
not because they don't know what to do with their money. People give money when discipleship making is done properly. So, if you just introduce technology to get your money, either people out of ignorance will give you the money, but they feel later on that you just trap them. So I will not just even go straight into the technology. I will want to see people who have been well prepared. We call it discipleship, making people who have come to the level of knowledge and they have seen a work of God, something that they want to. Now, this is what is missing. There are instances where we are, coercing nicely, doing all manner of things to have money. And sometimes the church itself must be a giving church.
No, but we are preaching a cashless society, sir. So what is so wrong for the church to
all that I'm
that
saying
line?
is, Nana, don't start from how do I use technology to get even what we want in church. But how do we get the people to benefit a lot, they themselves, from the modern day technology and resources? It is when the church get there, then the church members themselves must decide that, I want to pay contribution to the church, but I don't have time. But I can do, say, mobile money to my church. I want to give money to church.
Because I know ICGC has made it possible for their members to use these express pay and go on that.
There's nothing new about that
line.
There was a time in Europe, in Germany, I have had churches. I pastored a congregation in the US. But the Germany story, I was in Germany, in Stuttgart, a church that has everything. Like you go in, it's just a place for people who want to buy church, souvenirs. The church is empty. Now, some churches in Europe have been turned into drinking stalls, and then there are cathedrals that have been turned into mosques and all that. And if you go, they still have money. You see, you have church members who will indicate when they get new appointment that at the end of the month, take X percent.
So are you right? So are you saying it shouldn't be introduced to the whole church, but
not
if you are interested, you do it?
You see, pastors should not start from there. that technology is good. I can use technology to get all the money I want. I will want pastors to use technology to help their people, number one, so that the church members themselves must be hungry. That how do I support my church? And if technology can help me do it better. Now we have pastors in this country. Their church members cannot get closer to them. They are surrounded by bodyguards who are armed. People who started churches in classroom that ordinary people can walk to. Now you can't go to them. There are pastors who, in the name of what, are not attending the weddings of their young people. You go and the room is empty. And all the big pastors are not there. If your parents are not people with big names in that church, you go, your wedding is even squeezed in a small room somewhere and still empty. Pastors must be careful of the people we are dealing with. We should not only be excited about the money they give to us, but the quality of life and how accessible. Now there are pastors who may I was dealing with some colleagues, senior ministers, and one was angry that we have, allowed some small boys to call him. That he doesn't allow people, kind of category to call their name. That is a problem. So you don't consider that, if I introduce technology, at the end of the month, I can get X amount of money. But you see?
Also, why are some pastors, fighting for glory and for power? Within yourselves, I'm powerful than you are. I have this than you are. I have that.
There's nothing new. Jesus was around and a woman went to him and said, hey, we have been nice with you. When you go into your kingdom and your glory, I have 2 sons. Look at them, very handsome. Now, left, right, preserve and reserve them for my sons. Other members, the disciples, apostles, heard this. They were angry. Jesus says, why are you angry? Why are you? That's nothing new. So that has been with us. It is up to us, the ministers and men and women of God, to know what it means, ministerial success. What does it mean? Talk to Paul. What does it mean that in ministry you have been successful? And I tell you, it has nothing to do with the car you drive. Those my wife is the best dressed woman in town, in church. So ministerial success has nothing to do with how your wife dressed, where you live, the marble in your hall and all that. And some of us are not getting it right. People who started with humility and all that. The painful side is pastors who now ordinary church members cannot reach out to them. You take their money. There are poor widows in our churches who are giving money, but they can't get closer to their pastors. To me, that's the real issue. So it's not
right. Moving away from that, let's look at the famous double track system. You have been quite clear that it must, pay attention to the quality assurance, but concerns have been raised by several experts and institutional, heads, including NAGRAT, on whether quality, will be achieved. Do you believe that the government must listen and must not only listen to voices they want to hear, but they must also listen to those, the face they don't want to see or they don't like? Do you think the government, has done that? Are they listening? Are they looking at the face they don't like?
Yeah, I have had opportunity. In fact, the Minister of Education invited representative of the various religious bodies, Catholic Bishop, Christian Council, Ghana Pentecostal Charismatic, Muslim leaders.
Right.
And he made presentation to us. And then from his office, we drove in convoy to Jubilee House to meet the president. And the president also made presentation. In fact, he allowed people even to ask questions during the meeting on this double track. So what I'm going to share with you is flowing from this kind of meetings that we have heard. We've been told that we have about 180,000 Ghanaian children who must have access to secondary schools. But our facilities, being classroom, dormitories, can take about 90,000. So the question is, what do you do with the 90,000? Now, the immediate response is quickly provide the facilities. And they say it will take about 5-7 years to provide. So still the question remains, what do you do with the 90,000? And if you connect it with the Sustainable Development Goals that call for leave no one behind, it means we can't dump this 90. And that is why they are saying, they've studied what is happening in other countries, where it's not like on holidays, your facilities are there, not in use. So now why other group is on campus, another group may be on holiday, not with the same teachers. Track 1, you have your teachers. So on holidays, while they are marking script, another group, you are there, and they are calling for better incentives and all that. Now,
yeah, so why is quality your concern? You think, be compromised?
Yeah, you see, leaders are supposed to lead. So in this challenge, if that is the leadership they want to give to us. But you also realize that some of these things are campaign issues. I mean, we know all of them are getting themselves ready for 2020 election. All of them. Some of them have started electing their national officers and all that. So they are all looking for campaign promises. And we don't want a situation where this double track will be MPP a trump card for election. We have done it, all meaning that we push them through. It should not be a pushover. Push them through so that you come back 2020 that we have given you free SHS. It must be a free HS that has legacy. They must be legacy minded. What it means is, are they prepared? MPs and all that the double track system, school in their own constituencies, they will not rush their children from their constituency to Prempeh, to Mfansipim, to Aburi Girls, to St. Rose's, but they will be proud themselves that we will send our own children to those schools because the schools have become better. Because there's a real gap between our educational system. Some, not everything, but some are far better than the others. Again, sometimes they will roll out program. Initially, we will do this, we will do that. They start rolling the program and they leave it. Then a hard-working, proactive headmaster, headmistress feel that I can't leave things this way. Then they start collecting paint and other things just to improve. And you hear on radio, TV, we have sacked this headmaster, we have sacked this headmistress. And that is why we are saying right from the beginning, they must pay attention to quality assurance, that this system is going to make education better than what is there. In my generation, you could have attended a school anywhere, and those days call it common entrance. And you go through the common entrance, and from the village somewhere, find yourself into Mfansipim. Now, this junior high thing, you need 11111 to get to Aburi Girls. How many rural schools children are getting the 111? You need AAA to do medicine. And even now, universities, medicine, they are calling them, come and write entrance exams and interview. Now look out from where they are coming from. I'm not only former General Secretary of Christian Council. I teach at KNUSC. I'm a former head of department. Look at where our students on campuses, those doing medicine, pharmacy, engineering, law, where they are coming from. Because they are picking, either you do fee paying or you go there with AAA. So again, back to the issue earlier on you raised about equity. We must factor equity and quality assurance into the system so that we be proud about the next generation of ideas. Ghana must be proud about the children who will come out from this double track system. Not that somebody has now a campaign message and then NDC also want to fight very hard that you cannot use this as a campaign message. And that's why I say they must broaden consensus.
I see.
Listen to everybody.
Because of time, let's move on. But sir, finally, many Ghanaians continue to criticize President Akufo-Addo for the appointment of his ministers, deputy ministers and presidential staffers, which, they say is putting unnecessary strain on the economy. Now, with the current reshuffle, many anticipated a reduction in the number of ministers, but, that wasn't the case. What do you make of the recent ministerial reshuffle?
What we are not sure is whether it's over or whether we are going to hear maybe phase 2. But if he is done with it, we have said, Christian Council earlier on, initially, among other things, that we should rather cut these appointments because they say you cut your cloth according to the size of the your cloth, how much you can afford, And because initially we were told that the coffers are empty and all that, and all these ministers and their deputy, now you go to some places and it's like we have a Toyota warehouse, Land Cruiser everywhere. And they are all moving out with police officers. Some of them are driving and asking all of us to park, allowing them to have way, as if they are working for Ghana, all of us are working for somebody else. But the classroom teacher, the nurse who is late in traffic, is also working for Ghana.
So it brings me to my final question. Is President Akufo-Addo doing well? Do you think he's doing well?
We must be very careful. We must know what are we looking for.
Also, is a hard truth, so is he doing well or not?
That's, I'll pray for him that they must do more, because public confidence in this administration
How would you rate the
must
president
rise up.
on a scale of 1 to 10, sir?
This is a government that came to power, with promises.
How would
they
you
must
rate the
fulfill.
president
Maybe
on
the
a
middle
scale
of the year.
1 to 10? I mean, really, this is a hard one. What are you scared of, sir?
No,
How
I'm
would you
scared
rate our
of.
president on a scale of 1 to 10? I mean,
I would
it's
have
so simple.
wished we pick the issues.
We are not
one
picking. You
by
have picked your
one.
issue. So how would
Now,
you rate it?
People are going to hospital and they are dying because we don't have hospital beds. If I stand here and I say 0 or 10, eventually I've said nothing. If I say they are doing well, and people go to our hospitals and no hospital, and
So they are not doing well.
Wait,
why can't you say it?
Amewu, that Minister of Environment, and this, even though we have a long way to go, and that firmness, it's exciting. There are other things, So let's pick, and how issue will come, and media and some of you will raise the issues, and he has done it 1 or 2. How is going to sustain it is another thing. But if we have a president who, when people raise, public sentiment, and he will go to the drawing board and change something, is good. But we have a long way to go.
Thank you so much.
But they must always go back to their promises, because they gave us a lot.
Thank you so much, sir, for coming on the hard show. I've been talking to former General Secretary of the Ghana Christian Council, Reverend Dr. Opuni-Frimpong. My name is Nana Akusia Kunedwell Asante Samuels. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Bye.